Let's see how many people show up. You're like, oh, she's doing this weird thing again with the camera. I'm just gonna lay down and ignore her. If anybody's here, say hello. Say hello. Say hello. I'm just gonna put Mickey on camera because everybody asks about you anyway. Because you're the actual star, Mickey. Do you know that? You know that, Mickey? Huh? Yes, you are. You're the actual star. Do you know that, Mickey? Do you know you're the real star of the show? I'm my baby boy. I'm my baby boy. Boo 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 boo. Bucka. Bucka bucka boo. Boo. Bucka bucka boo. Say hi to the chat, Mickey. Say hi. Say how are you? You're looking at me. Look at the chat. Hello, everybody. See people jumping in right now. I am doing well. I just saw one of my friends today. We got some tea and we caught up, so that was cool. I tend not to film those unless, like, you know, I warn people ahead of time. I also like being in the moment sometimes, but yeah. Whoopsie. How old is Mickey now? He's a little bit over a year old, so he's a year and some change. What was that? What was that? Ziggy says, hello, glad I got you on live. We'll only be on for a bit. It's the wee hours of the morning here. And I actually was trying to go live like earlier so that it would be better for people who maybe have a problem with like the 5. I usually try to do 5 or 6 o'clock p.m. Because for East to West Coast, it usually kind of works out. But sometimes for people who are in an extremely different time zone, it doesn't work out as well. Princess Pamela, I am back in the Bay Area. Kind of floating around. Scroll up to the top. Why do I want to scroll up to the top? Also, let me just get the other phone. It'll be easier than trying to like scroll on the screen. Let's see. I have to make sure the sound's down, or I might actually just like double up on the sound. All right, let's see. Let's go to your channel, my channel. Let's see. Okay, got that. I got the chat rolling on the alternate phone. Do 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 do. Ziggy says, yeah, like another country. Lisa Richard says, I found you just before you got Mickey. So you've been here for Mickey's life online. Risa Forrester says, yay, I'm in for the live and right on time. Yay, what's up? Laura Kramer says, have you done a van tour yet? And the answer is no. And the reason is I just haven't been physically in a place where I want to shoot it. I don't want to go randomly to some parking lot and shoot it. And also now I would rather get the truck painted and then do a van tour, as opposed to doing a van tour before I paint the truck. So no, I've not done a tour, and that's because I don't want to just throw it together. I want to feel like, one, aesthetically, it's parked in a place where I want to tour it. Because the tour would include out exterior shots, and two, now that I'm trying to get it painted, I kind of want to do that. So that's a couple of reasons why it hasn't been shot yet. CCH says, you've got Apple now, pinkies out, LOL. Technically, I have both, because I have two phones. And one of them is an iPhone, and the other one's still an Android. So technically, I have both. um... Victoria Hinton says, do you go live from the computer and read chat from the phone? I can't decide how to do that on Facebook. I have two phones, so that's what I do. As explained in my my internet video, I've had two phones for a while. I consider it easy. It's good for me to have two phones on two separate networks. Number one, if one network isn't working, maybe the other network works. And when I have the money, I just recently canceled it because I'm trying to cut down some expensive. I also have a hotspot on a third network, and that usually covers me for internet and phone use. And sometimes one phone just doesn't work. And so if one phone isn't working, then I have the other phone. Recently, when I set up my new phone, something went wrong, and so I needed to call them, so I called them on the other phone. There are just situations where you need a phone, and just having one, if it fails on you, you don't have a backup. So I've considered it very valuable to have a backup phone. So I have two different phones and two different phone numbers, basically, which comes in handy. I didn't buy it for lives, but for situations like this, I'm using the iPhone to actually be live, but then I also have my Android phone, and before I used to just have two Androids, and I'm just looking, excuse me, at the scroll on there. So yeah, that's what I'm doing right now. There are times I've gone live from the laptop, and I just straight up used the laptop because it was a big screen, but I was starting to have problems with my mic. So yeah. Risa Forrester says, your hair has grown a lot. Thank you so much. Whoops. And now my phone just fell. I don't know what that looked like on your end. Janet the Hip Jip, that's a long name. I'm just going to say Janet. She says, hi, Dawn from Alabama. Nerds unite. Yes, I love it. Sarah, what's up? Nice to see you in the chat. Sarah says, we talking phones again. Freedom Dove says, I'm lucky to afford one phone, LOL. None of my phones are expensive. Like, it's not like I'm on some expensive plan. Honestly, I probably pay less because my phones are paid for, so I'm not paying on my phones. I only get a phone if I can fully buy it. So the phone number becomes a month-to-month charge. It's just a plan. And the plans I'm on aren't that expensive. And, like, that's why I use, what do you call them? MVNOs, which is, mobile virtual network operators. So that's going to be like your Boost and your Cricket, and you're not the main providers, and those are usually cheaper. I know people who pay more for one phone than I do for two. I used to have my second phone number on what do you call it? The one where you just have minutes, because it was just an emergency phone anyway, but it's the one where you have like the minutes stored up, and you don't have to pay again until you use all those minutes. The only reason I changed it is because, honestly, I needed the internet, and it was costing me more time in driving and money than to just have a second phone on an MVNO. So it covers my bases, and honestly, comparatively, it's, for what I need to do with internet, it's way less expensive. For my situation. Everybody's situation is different. What did I say? Ooh, ooh, ooh. Tina says I can barely keep up with one phone. Oh, I can't keep up with one phone. It's just necessary. It's a necessary evil. In my perfect world, I wouldn't even have a smartphone. Like, like if it wasn't a necessary evil, I wouldn't have one smartphone. I'd have one basic dumb phone, or maybe two basic dumb phones, because I still like to have that backup phone for an emergency. And for my safety, I feel safer having the two phones, just because I've had all kinds of situations where that one phone you have fails you, and so having that secondary phone in those situations has helped me. And one of the times was when I was switching my number and it didn't work, so I needed to call them, but I couldn't call them on the phone that wasn't working because my number didn't switch over. So then I had to run into somewhere on campus, because payphones don't exist anymore. Like it used to be in the old days. Like you could actually use payphones. You cannot even find them during things anymore. They don't exist. And so I had to go into a building and ask permission to use their phone just to be able to call the provider and find out what was going on with my phone. And luckily it worked out. I was in college at the time. And yeah, like the library on campus let me do it for some insane reason. I don't know why they let me do it, but they were like, "All right, crazy child, yeah, you can use our phone." I told them why, and honestly, like, students work there, so they were probably like, "Sure, fine, whatever." Let me see. Let me see. Let me see. See. Let me see. Let me see. You think I was a tech channel the way we talk about phones every time I do a live stream now, we're talking about phones. Like, I need to start doing like a review channel, see if I can get people to send me some free phones, man. I'm joking. There's much better reviewers out there than me when it comes to tech. Where was I? Actually, there's no niche like that on YouTube. Maybe I should start doing that. Like, start reviewing phones in the van life context and see what happens, because there's nobody who covers that niche. Oh, man. Oh, boy, where was I? Nancy McIntyre says, I would like two phones, one for emergency calls and the other to ignore. Sarah says, I don't even want the one I have. I feel the same way. And I'm not even on the phone that much. It's just the convenience of having the two numbers and having the two phones on two separate networks. And you have to realize, like, I don't have, like, quote-unquote home internet, so this is just, like, a support backup thing. It's not that I'm on the phone all the time. People with one phone are probably on their phone way more than I am. It also happened that I had, the one that I had on my basic phone before I turned it to a smartphone was also my Maryland number that I held on to, and there was a bunch of people who had that number. And I got confused about who had what number, so also holding on to these two numbers means the people I do want to find me can find me without me having to send everybody my new number. So yeah. Tina the Outsider says, I paid $145 for phone and Wi-Fi pack with Verizon. I mean, I think I pay that for my two phones, and it covers... I might pay less than that. Let me think. Yeah, I think I come in a little bit less than $145 for both of my phones. Pat says, Dawn, did someone break into your box truck? No one broke into my box truck and steal your generator, or did they steal it from outside while you had it running? The storage for my generator is, in fact, outside the box truck. My generator is never inside of the box truck. The generator box has a lock on it. I'm going to be honest and say, because nothing's ever happened, I've gotten very casual about not locking that box. And so that's something that needed to change. Another thing I did was I got a bike lock for my new generator for when it is outside of the box running. But the generator is never in the box truck. It was never stored in the box truck. It's in one of the underbody storage boxes. So no one broke into the box truck. The generator was outside of the box truck. When it was stolen. It was also outside of its box. And honestly, like I said, I had the means to provide more protection to it, which is why I'm more mad at myself than anything. It would be lovely if people just respected people's property, but real world people don't. And so I have just gotten more aggressive with protecting it. But it was never stored in the box truck. It has never been stored in the box truck. It's always been stored outside of the box truck. So yeah. Whoops. Stop it, phone. Julie says, hi, Dawn. I was watching a comfort video yesterday, and I thought that was pretty risky for you to show us a clip of you in your shower. Pretty daring, lady. I mean, it was a visual thing, you know, and it was there for like 2 seconds. I don't think anybody's looking for me. Lance Revel said, my Cricket is $50 a month. My Verizon is more, both unlimited. That's cool. Also, Visible is Verizon, and I think for one phone, it's like $60 or $70. I don't remember off the top of my head. Be America says they have payphones in London. That's good to know. You can't find them anywhere else. Like the last time I saw a payphone, like it was disconnected. It's funny. We were actually doing a play for Oakland Theater Project, and one of the things we needed was a payphone for a set piece. The ones we found that were like ones that were removed were insanely expensive, because now like they're decorative items and like, you know, relics of the past. And so like it was so hard to find like an old payphone that we could just repurpose as a set piece, and they were expensive because now it's just considered this ancient relic of a time long past. Freedom Dove says, I want to get a satellite beacon too, like your Spot or a Garmin. It is useful to have, especially when you just like, you know, a cell phone isn't a choice that you can have. Daisy Day says, Dawn, do you have new places to stay at night? I mean, I have my spots. I try not to do too much advertising on my spots because like that's how spots get ruined. I will say today I was pretty upset because I came to Berkeley to hang out with somebody. Like we met over their lunch break, and I went to one of the places that I used to park overnight in the area because I was already in the area and I didn't want to make a long drive out to another area that I like to park in. And I was so upset because there was a Class A parked in my spot, except it's not my spot. I keep twisting this piece of hair in the back. I need to stop. And like, it's like, I haven't been like here in months. And I think I lied on that video. I was here way after March. I don't remember when the heck was gutted. That's when I left. I left like for gutted. I don't know when the last time I was in California. But anyway, I have my spots. I have a few places that I can go. I don't talk about them too much because I feel like that's how spots get ruined. Because like people are like, okay, I'm gonna go where she is, you know. And yeah, I think especially for city van dwelling, it's better for you to kind of cruise out your own spots that work for you. Freedom Dove says, I'm old enough to remember rotary dial phones. rotary dial phones. I think we had one. Like, it was ancient technology at that point, but I think it's like my mom already had one, so I definitely used one to call people when I was very young. And then eventually, we thought we had something when we had the cordless house phone. It wasn't even a cell phone. It was like a cordless house phone. And I'll never forget getting my first cell phone. It was one of those flip phones. And the only reason I got it is because my mom was in the store and they offered her a deal for 2 phones, and I was going to college at the time, and so she wanted me to be able to contact her. And so, like, the only person I think I called on a cell phone for like 2 to 3 years was my mom in an emergency, and it was just one of those flip phones. So yeah. But I remember my first cell phone. J Camp says payphones still do exist. The only time I see anything and they're not even payphones. The only time I see public phones is those emergency phones that are on bridges and stuff. But I don't know the last time. If they exist so rarely. I'm not even mad at parents for getting their kids cell phones anymore. At first I was like, I didn't have a cell phone, but literally you can't find them. Like, I remember starting to not see them in Baltimore, many years ago. And the few ones you could find, most of them didn't work. So I would never in my life rely, even if they exist, I would never in my life rely on finding oh, the one place I've seen payphones? The airport. Because I used to work at the airport, and the airport did have payphones. But that's the airport. Like, if I was randomly on the street, I'm not even going to assume I'm going to find a payphone because I haven't seen one in years. Ohio Girl says, a lot of people, or I could call you Lynette, I don't know what you prefer. A lot of people still have rotary dial phones, LOL, retired from phone company. I love it. I love that people still have their rotary phones. It's like people with tube TVs. Daisy Day says, I was asking for your safety. I'm worried about you being targeted again. I was not sleeping there. Somebody literally stole this in broad daylight during the day. Where I was when it got stolen, which was near Oakland, is ironically also the same place that my catalytic converter was stolen. Same area. It's the same place that somebody spray painted my Chevy van. It's the same place that somebody broke into my van when I was in the middle of trying to sell it and busted out the window. So if I stay away from Oakland, I seem to have less problems. Like, Oakland is where all of these like, people are blaming the whole state of California. I've been plenty of places in California where not a damn thing happened to me. But near Oakland, I've had 2 cars broken into. I've had my generator stolen. I've had my catalytic converter stolen. So yeah, I kind of avoid any spots in that area. All right, my phone's gonna... But I wasn't sleeping there anyway. I was just there during the day. All right, let's plug. Where was I? Rob, what's up? Rob is in the chat. How are you doing? Yeah, I'm cool in CA, I'm doing well. Happy to see you in the chat. Mrs. Job says, I remember when phones were alphanumeric, like HY6. I don't remember that. That is older than me. That I did not know alphanumeric was a thing. Sarah says, there is a working phone in the middle of the Salmon National Forest in an abandoned town in Idaho. So cool. That is amazing. Shara Mills says, California Hater says, hi, Dawn. What's up, Shara? a lot of people were talking about the party lines. Like, yeah, I remember the party lines. I remember like when you were talking to that person, you didn't want your parents to hear you, so like you take the whole phone all the way around the corner, and then you'd be like trying to sit, and like you could only get so far. Like, remember when it was special when you had like your own phone number? Like, because it used to be families had a phone number, so you were like rich if you had like your own line on a separate number and not just like an extension of the house number in a different room. And shoot, if you had a phone in your room, forget, like these kids are like walking around with their own cell phones in their hand, like they don't know about us. Like, if you just had a phone unit in your room, oops, there goes my phone again, that shares the the house number, that was one thing. And if you got your own number, oh my gosh, oh my god. So I remember my mom really getting annoyed when I got my first internet because it was dial-up internet, and so I convinced her to get the internet, and that was when the internet used the phone line, and she'd be like, "Dawn, I was trying to call you." I was like, "Oh, she's using the internet, Mama." I'm sorry. Oh man, blast from the past here. DawnofVanlife tech channel. Woo. Thank you, Freedom Dove, for taking care of the chat. I see you knocking out the annoying people. Freedom Does says stay away from Oakland and San Francisco. I hate San Francisco. I don't like big cities. I don't have a problem with like smaller cities and towns and provinces, but I don't like big cities. It pretty much gives me hives, and this phone wants to fall again. Jesus. Oops. So yeah, I don't really like to go to San Francisco. It's just kind of a pain in the arse. So I avoid it if I can. Like, San Francisco is a place you go for a purpose and you leave. You know? So yeah, like sometimes if there's something you want to go to in San Francisco, like me, go, leave. Like, I do not spend time in San Francisco if I can help it. Where am I? I lost the chat. Patty Gruber, I think somebody answered you. Yes, when I got my new catalytic converter in, they added some extra welds to protect it because it basically makes it really harder to cut through. And now basically an alarm would go off if there was a lot of vibration down there. That's all I'm gonna say. I don't like to talk about everything online because then all your business is out there. Like, so yeah. Ruby Wannabe says, thank you. I hope you stay away from that area now, please. I don't sleep there. Definitely. And like, if I go, Oakland is one of those places I go for a purpose. Like, you know, if I'm going to, that's the funny thing though. I was at freaking Target. Again, this happened in broad daylight in Target. In like, anyway. The reason why I was even where I was one, I met up with somebody because she sold me her old roof vent because I'm going to switch out that back one to a different roof vent. And then I was at Target and I needed new shoes for work. I needed good work shoes. So I was going to get some more work shoes from Target, and everything kind of went down with that situation. And I was like, well, I'm here. I could just stay here for the day and then move at night. And when before I moved that night, my generator was gone. And that sucked. Whew. Oh, Shay says there's a payphone in a small country town in North Carolina by a vineyard. So I think this should start turning into like a goal is to like find working payphones. And she says, I think this place has been a gas station since the 1900s. I checked to see if there's a dial tone. Yes, as of 2019. Oh, man. Woo. Daisy Days says there's a working payphone at one of our parks here. I took a picture. So these working payphones seem to be like in the middle of nowhere, and I think people just forgot to disconnect them. Or nobody feels like going out there to disconnect it. Shower Mill says, my great granny used to work for the phone company when you weren't allowed to be married and work there. Wow. I thought it was funny it wasn't funny, but when my mom was alive, she told me that she actually remembered when she started being allowed to wear pants to work, which was crazy to me. Like, you weren't allowed, and she was like, yeah, I literally wasn't allowed to wear pants to work. And so the fact that she even remembered that always blew my mind. And when my mom passed away, I was cleaning out her house. It's kind of tough. But the funniest thing I found was like a receipt for when she had to order a phone being installed. And that was like and I knew that was a thing. Like, you didn't used to just buy a phone. Like, the phone company would literally come and install a phone. And I thought it was the most hilarious thing I found in like her old paperwork. The fact that she had even kept it. By the way, if you look back there, that's my mom up there. And you can barely see it, but on her lap, is me, the baby. I'm the baby on her lap. Yeah. We're going back in the day. We're not, forget Apple and Android and that whole world. We're going back, way back into time. LD says, yes, I thought I had made it when I had a line in my room. Yeah, when my mom allowed me to have like a phone in my room that didn't even have a separate phone number, it was the same phone number for the house. It was like, wow, I'm a grown up now. She let me have a separate phone in my room. And then it'd be like, Dawn, the phone's for you. And I'm like, okay, I got it. You can hang up now. And then you listen to make sure that nobody else is on the phone. Oh, man. Jen of C, the phone, and mom picks up the extension to tell you to get off so she can make a call. Yeah. When you be on the phone, and suddenly mom will be on the phone like, you still on the phone? I need to call your grandmama. Hang up. How long you want me on here? These kids don't know how nice they got it with their whole separate phones. Oh, man. You guys are bringing back memories. Sarah says, I did not have my own line, just my own phone. It was clear green. Ooh, was it one of those see-through phones? Like those, except for the ones that were shapes, like the ones, I had one of those car phones, not a phone in a car, a phone that looked like a car. And basically the hang up was on the bottom, so when you set it down, it hung up. And I would knock that thing off the table all the time, and my mom just got annoyed with it because I would accidentally have the phone off the hook, but I really wanted it because it was like shaped like a car, and my mom hated that phone, and we eventually replaced it because I just ended up knocking it off the. I mean, I was a teenager at that point, but it was just really easy to knock it over. And yeah, like those were the two cool phones. It was either the ones where you could literally see through and like see all the electronics inside, or the ones that were like shapes like cars or lips or something like that. Like those were the jam back in the day. um JCamp5818 says payphone website directory exists and lists states and locations of payphones. That's sad. You used to just find payphones. Now you have to go to a website, so you have to have internet access and get the list of working payphones. Oh man. Thank you, mods, for taking care of those messages, please. Pamela Milton says, I hated dial-up. Took forever also. Yeah, dial-up internet, oh my goodness. Like, I would avoid any websites with pictures. Like, I just wanted websites with text, because if anything had any graphics, it was going to take like 10 hours. You like, click, download. And when people started figuring out how to like embed like music and pictures, we're going back to MySpace, y'all. Like, it would also take forever on dial-up. Like, I would be so mad at people that had, like, pictures all over their MySpace accounts. You know, back when we used to use MySpace. Lance Rebel says, I visited San Francisco in my Navy days about 1983. Weird even then. I bet you there was less poop on the ground. Because, yeah, San Francisco had that problem for them. So I bet in 1983 it was at least cleaner. Barefoot and Badass says, hey Dawn, any tips about organizing your video clips? Do you have an external hard drive? I'm using OneDrive and Google Drive right now, and it's pretty much full. So it takes a long time to like upload to the internet, including to cloud drives. So I do prefer using an external hard drive. I have one of them right here. And you can get these comparatively. I remember when back in the day, in college, it cost me a lot of money to get one of these drives. These drives are way cheaper than they used to be, and I do use these. And what I'll do is, like, if I film for the day, and I'll film on multiple devices, what I'll do is I will date a folder and drop everything in there. And then sometimes I go and resort, because sometimes I'll film over multiple days for things that are going to be the same video. And I will just put all the clips that I want for a specific video in one folder. But I do like using the hard drive better than cloud storage, because it just takes too long to upload things to cloud storage. Especially because I use the cell phone, I use the GoPro, and when I'm feeling fancy and I actually have the space to do it, I'll sometimes use the drone. And trying to do all that on my phone or uploading to cloud storage is way slower than just opening up my computer and dropping it all on a hard drive. I will say back up a hard drive though, and it's still easier for me to have like things backed up, which I didn't do recently, and luckily I was able to save it all, then try to put it on cloud storage. Because at a certain point, if you're filming video constantly, yeah, you're either going to have to, you might have to end up paying for it. So yeah, that's my answer to that. I will say Bunny from Bunny Plays Here actually has a much better workflow than me. Like, she is an expert on having a great workflow when it comes to filming and turning over video. I admire her work. Like, Bunny from Bunny Plays Here, if you haven't subscribed, her channel's awesome. And she has a great workflow that I envy. I remember her telling me about it at Gutted. Sarah says, just visited San Francisco for a day, saw the Full House, LOL. Yeah. I wonder if the people who, I don't know if anybody lives in that house, because it's an actual house. So yeah, I wonder if they get annoyed at people looking, but like when I went across what is it? The Golden Gate Bridge, when I drove across it the first time, and this was years ago now, I remember thinking, I'm on the Full House Bridge, which is not what it's called, but I was like super excited the first time, and then by the fifth time I didn't care. But the first time I was like, it's the bridge from Full House. I wasn't even at the house, but yeah, you can drive by the house, walk by the house. It's pretty cool. Um Lisa Richard says, I don't memorize phone numbers, just names. That's what cell phones have done. Yes. But I also thought about it. It used to be like the number to my grandmother's house back in the day was also my grandmother's number, one of my uncle's numbers, my aunts, and my cousin, because they all lived in the same house. So it was more the household phone number to get a hold of certain people. And now everybody in the household has their own number. So yeah, it's like, one, we used to be smarter because we used to remember numbers. But two, there's also so many phone numbers to remember because everybody has their own number now. It's not like one household where you can reach like multiple people. So that also has changed. Um, Patricia Jones says, hello, Dawn. My husband and I are full-timers now, and we love it. Congratulations. Yeah, Rob answered the question. He's originally a Bay Area guy, and now he's up in Oregon enjoying life. Lynette says, our town, someone robbed a bank, and the getaway vehicle was a damn bicycle, and he got away. What? How did he get away on a bike? That's crazy. Oops. I'm hitting things. Hitting the screen. Deanna Max says, love San Francisco and California to visit. I understand the emotion. Princess Pamela says, my neighbors put in an old payphone that's free on the street. It's really cool. I called myself and I answered. I love it. That's awesome. Donna Jean says, Donna, by the way, that's my godmother's name. She says, I feel obligated now to take a picture of any oddly located payphone I happen across. That would probably be awesome. Just be like, and you have to test and see if it works. That's the thing. You have to find it and you have to confirm it works. Lisa Richards says there's a payphone in, I don't know how to pronounce this, Snohomish, Washington? Snohomish? Historical town, tiny. Penny in Kentucky says, how did you get used to driving a large vehicle? I backed a U-Haul up into a pole. Well, wet pavement is also fun as heck. Not, LOL. The only way to get used to driving a larger vehicle is to do it. There's like no real trick to it except to do it and do it carefully. The thing about a U-Haul, I hate to say, is it's a rented vehicle you're going to return. So you're probably not, and you're trying to get stuff from point A to point B. So, one, there's places I don't go because I'm afraid. Like, I will confirm how much space there is. If I have any hint, I might not fit. You know, I'm like, how wide is your street? How is parking on your street? I have elected sometimes to meet people away from their homes so that I'm not navigating narrow streets. So really there's no way to get used to it except to do it, but otherwise it's honestly just doing it. Now, one thing I did do to help me personally is I added a camera system. So I have 3 navigational cameras. There's one on the rear, there's one on the left, and the one on the right. And I can also use those to actually look outside my vehicle. That doesn't mean I don't miss stuff. But yeah, so the cameras really helped because of the way, because unlike a van, like a box truck or even a schoolie boxes out a little bit. And so you have worse blind spots than you would have on like a van. Even with the Chevy van, it was kind of tricky. Going from a minivan, which is kind of like driving a car, to going to the Chevy van, it started to get tricky there. But because the box boxes out, adding those extra cameras helped a lot as far as my comfort driving. So now when I'm driving, I have 3 driving cameras to cover my blind spots, one on the rear, one on the left, and one on the right. So yeah. I also want to thank the mods. I know they've been working hard tonight, knocking people out, knocking those trolls down. So thank you so much. Elaine says Jaylene and Isaac had 1,000 trolls last night. Yeah, they can get bad sometimes. I really appreciate you guys like looking out for the chat for me. And there's so much stuff I never see because you guys like knock it out. So Tina, Dove, who else is in here? Rob's in here. What's up? Who else has a blue wrench for me? Princess Pamela. Like anybody who's been having the ability to navigate the trolls. I saw Freedom Dove really starting to knock them out like super early. Thank you for looking out for the chat and trying to keep it positive up in here. You know. But yeah, it's just driving it every day and getting used to it. And there's nothing to it but like practice. There was a time I didn't realize how close I was to a wall, and I felt really bad because the guy in the store came out. Yeah, the wall, it was a brick wall attached to a store, and I had to apologize because I didn't realize how close I was to the wall because I was trying to back in. But luckily, like nothing was hurt. The brick wall wasn't hurt, and I have a lift gate back there, so lift gate wasn't hurt. It was just kind of a loud shake. And like if I have any reluctance about going down a street, I don't do it. like that's what it comes down to. That was a long wibbly wobbly answer. Lance Revel asks if all these remote payphones are all in areas with no cell service. That would actually make sense. Like, you know, just to have them scattered in places where cell service is difficult. Because at the end of the day, a wired phone, you know, is going to work. Rob says we have a payphone out at Horton Pond in Oregon, LOL, out in the middle of nowhere. So maybe that's what it is. It's like, this payphone is in the middle of nowhere, so we're going to leave it because someone may not actually be able to use their cell phone. Rescue Dog Troop says, how are the gig jobs going, Dawn? It's going okay. It's been a lot more like putting a dropping sort of a word in people's ear. I actually have a job this Saturday that I'm going to be doing, but that's something I got off of a gig app. TK Morris says, I remember when I graduated from dial-up to DSL. Oh, yes. I feel like I got it like way later than everybody else, but I remember that moment where I wasn't taking up the phone line in the house to be on the internet, which is probably terrible because then I spent too much time on the internet. Abby Lynn says, I had to order the phone line to be installed in my first apartment back in the 80s. Yeah, I'm not talking about installing the phone line. I'm talking about installing the phone. There were plenty of instances where like a phone line needed to be installed, but I'm talking about way back in the day where like AT&T came with the actual phone and had to install it. Like you didn't get a phone line installed and then go to like, you know, Best Buy and buy a phone. Like the phone company bought the phone. Put the picture close to the screen so we can see you. I think you're talking. This is what okay, I'm gonna get a picture. I'm gonna go get it. It's over here. Do. So there's mommy, and there's me. Mommy, me. Mommy, me. What's that back there? And that's a fan. A box fan. I think I was only a few days old there because my mom is still wearing the hospital um thing. The hospital, what do you call it? Bracelet. I can't see what else is in the picture. It's just me, mom, and the fan. And I actually remember that chair. We must have had it through like my childhood. Carla Walker, I just noticed you're in here. I'll probably scroll past you because I was scrolling a lot. What's up, Carla? Um, Laura Kramer says, Dawn, I had that same setup. I had to share a line with parents. Penn in Kentucky says, I remember when I got my first TV for my room, a black and white 13-inch with rabbit ears. I was 13. I will say, I remember the first TV I had like in my room, and it was color. I mean, it wasn't good color like we have today. And it definitely had rabbit ears. But it was color, and I don't know. It might have been about 13 inches. It was kind of small. But I think it was just because my mom wanted me to be able to watch TV. And not take over the big living room TV. Like, I would watch the big living room TV. I would watch the big living room TV, and my mom wanted to watch her shows, so she'd be like, go watch TV in your room. Dora Mather, oh, this is old. I'm so behind. She says, in the 70s, when I was in high school, you could not wear pants to school. We had a protest. Walked out of class and marched outside the school. Yeah, it's so crazy to me. Like, people who are alive today remember when women could not wear pants. Like, it was literally not it was rebellious for women to wear pants. And it's like so much more practical for certain jobs for women to wear pants. Like, wearing a skirt because you want to, or because like to be pretty, or like for style is one thing, but the fact that you couldn't like just be like, it's a relaxing day and I want to wear pants, crazy. But now we've progressed so even men can wear dresses, even though technically if you think about robes, they're kind of dresses, like robes that religious people wear. Anyway, I'm gonna move on. Woo. Diana McCoy says, I'm 72 and I worked for the government in DC, and I remember how ridiculous it was that we were allowed to wear mini skirts but not pants. That is crazy. Again, for practical reasons. Like, just the practical reasons, you know. Julie says, I remember when my dad used to get mad at me when I was on the phone late at night because he thought all phone calls cost him money. But he was wrong. Local calls were free after 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. Mid-1970s. Shay says, the come up was when you got cordless phones. How come the extendable metal antenna was always broken? Yeah, those antennas always broke off. They were like this. That's the funny thing, is you needed like the phone, and then you had this giant, like, it's like my scissors. Like, it was about this much of your face just to have the antenna, and that's why they broke off all the time. Oh man. Lynette says, Dawn, did you know most all yellow cats are male? Yes, I know it's very rare for a yellow, orange, ginger-ish cat to be female. It's actually super rare by comparison to male. She says, but I have a 9-year-old female named Minnie. Oh my god, Minnie and Mickey. Had her since she was tiny. That's so cute. Princess Pamela says, MySpace is still out there. Yes, I know. I But I don't think it's ever coming back. Like, MySpace is dead. Penn in Kentucky is talking about AOL. I used to log into the dishes and until you got that "you got mail" announcement. You remember when we used to get excited about that? Like, there was this funny meme I saw where it was like, I forgot what year they put on it, but they showed like somebody who like was going through their paper mail and like looking all sad, like, because they knew it was mostly bills and stuff. And then the computer was like, "you got mail," and then the guy was like super happy. And then it was now, and it was like the reverse, because we get so much spam and email, like we're overrun with it. But he was so excited to get a paper letter, like he's holding a paper letter like this, but like looking sad at the computer and like all the email he has now. So it's funny to like live through that change. I remember like when getting emails was like something you did with your friends, like that was like cool. And now it's just work stuff and spam. Um, Earl Blackman says, "Have you run out of data on your phone to upload?" Not recently. Um, but also like whatever I can. The phone itself is unlimited, so anything I can do on the phone, I do. Um, it's only on rare occasions where I try to do it from the laptop. So that helps out a little bit, but also like Visible is great. Like honestly, Visible has been really really great. Um, Whoops. I'm starting to see people like roll out. I'm trying to find where I was in the chat. Oh no. It's not quite an hour, but I probably won't be on much longer. I said that last time, and I still stayed on like another 20 more minutes. I feel like I missed something in chat, but I don't know what I missed. Sorry, my add moderator. Risa, refresh and see if you have a wrench. Sorry, I just saw that. Britt F says, "Hi Dawn, hi Mickey. There's been a lot of smashing, grabs, and car theft. Please stay safe and have van security." Yolanda says, "I've never visited any part of California, but it's on my bucket list. Where do you recommend I visit?" I really like the Shasta Valley. That's pretty cool. San Francisco is fine to visit. It's not a place you want to live, to me. Like, if you look, unless you like really, really big cities, San Francisco is very fascinating to visit. It has some really, really good places to go be during the day. I personally wouldn't want to navigate trying to live there in a vehicle, but visiting is fine. You know, LA is fine to visit. You know, Berkeley's great. I can't give you a lot of advice in the middle, and I haven't done a lot south. So, yeah, but like San Francisco is fine. It's just not a place I want to live. Visit, fine. And also, I think it's getting pretty close to $6 a gallon for gas up there. Like, honestly. So not a place I want to be right now. Well, maybe if you gas up your tank, you drive over to San Francisco and visit, and then you get out of there before you need more gas. Because it's ridiculous. Penny Kentucky says Chrome does subs only lives and it helps a lot. Maybe I'll try that next time. I just feel bad because there are people who may not be subscribed, who watch the channel, and I don't know. Sarah says, I was nervous about driving our Class C, but it really is about driving as much as possible. Exactly. And this is about the same size as a Class C. Like, and Class A's are bigger than this, and some Class C's are bigger than this. So, yeah, you have to learn a different way of understanding space. And that's it. Like, people sometimes get big vans and are surprised at how uncomfortable they are driving it. So it really is just doing it over and over again. And like I said, there's still situations I don't navigate because I'm nervous about the size, and it's my house. The thing about like a U-Haul truck is you're not emotionally attached to it. I'd rather not go somewhere than risk my house. So it really is just about practice. Like, if you get a larger vehicle, just practice it. And if you're not comfortable driving into a situation, don't make yourself do it yet. Penn in Kentucky says, thanks for your camera tips on the truck. Is it okay to ask what brand of backup camera you use? I would have to look it up on Amazon. Because I just went through a lot of cameras, and I'm specifically looking at truck cameras, and I ended up picking one, but it isn't anything where I can be like, oh, it was blah blah blah. I'd have to honestly look it up on Amazon, on my Amazon list. TK Morris says, the old box fan. This was when I put up a picture of my mom. Those were the best and made sleeping great. Shay, thanks for asking for no blue wrench fighting. I don't know what happened. It seems like a mistake happened. But I hope you guys are cool. I appreciate both of you. So I don't know what happened here in the chat, but I hope everybody's okay. Carrie Stiegel says, if you went to private school in the 80s, you probably couldn't wear pants if you were a girl. I went to private school in elementary school, and there were gendered uniforms. I don't know if I went to a Catholic school for 1st and 2nd grade, and I don't know if it was a rule so much as a norm, because my little sisters, who were my adopted sisters, my mom got when I was like a teenager, when they were in elementary school, like, a lot of people put their girls in the skirts, but it wasn't really a rule. And so, like, if there were girls who were just like more athletic or wanted to climb and stuff, like, nobody got mad if they had the pants instead of the skirt on. So it became like a free choice thing, as they were in school. So I don't know how much was like a rule as so much as an expectation that in a uniform situation we had these skirts for girls and like, pants for boys. But I did notice toward the edge of my sisters going to school, and they were more than 10 years younger than me, that it wasn't uncommon to also see the girls in the pants version of the uniform. Shayla Mode says, how are you enjoying your iPhone? I don't know if you answered this already. It's fine. It's fine. I'm getting used to some of it. There's still some things as far as function that I like to do better on the Android. And I think that's just habit. Like, it's fine. It's a phone. It's fine. As far as me going, oh my God, Apple forever. I'm not touching any. I'm not there. I'm not there at all. It's fine. K. Morris says, gotta get rest. I have to get up tomorrow and drive. We are OTR truck drivers. Definitely get your rest. I'll catch the rest on replay. Thank you for dropping in. Lynette is out, says, Mini Cat and I say good night. Probably are already gone. Have a great rest of your week, y'all. Thank you for coming. Princess Pamela said good night. Jen Halliburton said good night. Penn in Kentucky, thank you for saying you like my Christmas decorations. Janice X, when did this live start? Like, now, about an hour ago. Heather Hopper said, good night, everyone. While Janice Williams said, hello, everyone. Oh, man. Janice says, bummer, I didn't miss Mickey, did I? Mickey was on at the top of the chat. Tim says, hello, Dawn. Question, how are you doing with Jackery battery power? How's that going? It's fine. One of my panels actually got damaged, and so right now I just haven't been having enough sun coming in. So yeah, it's fine. I added some more lights in here, which is draining a little bit more power during the day, but that's not really a Jackery problem so much as I increased my power use problem. So it's doing fine. It's fine. It's a power station. There are limitations to power stations, and I think I've outgrown those limitations, but I just need some money to invest in buying the battery cells that I want to build my own battery, and that's sort of my goal. I haven't gotten there yet, but I have. I bought this book because I want to fill in some of the gaps so that when I have the money, I can build my own battery. Just because, like, I think for what I want to do in here and how I want electricity wired, I'm making it work with the Jackery, but I've outgrown the limitations of the Jackery. And it has the battery packs are fine. It's about how the box is built. And the demands I'm putting on it are a little bit over what it is intended for. You know what I thought was funny though at the drone well, it wasn't funny. At the drone show, guess what the guy was using for power? Jackery. And I was like, oh, that's cool. He's like, yeah, you've never seen one of these before. And I was like, actually, I own the Jackery 1500. And he was like, oh, really? So that was cool. Yesel T says, you've probably heard this before, but do you ever get scared in your living situation? No more than any other living situation. It's not like this gal grew up in Baltimore City. And my mama wasn't rich. So it wasn't like, living in a house gave me any sort of special protection. Like, that house, I couldn't drive away if something was going on. Like, if something was going on there, in the neighborhood, I could leave. If I don't like where I am here, I could just park someplace safer. So no. Definitely not. I think my gauge of safety for that reason might be different from other people. But it's not like every house situation I've lived in has felt particularly safe. So yeah. Like, I've never had any reason to feel any more fear living in a vehicle than living in a house. I've had stuff stolen out of a house. Like, I remember when one of my gaming systems got stolen when I was a teenager, and that was one of my sister's friends. So, they broke into the house and stole it. So, Ellie's Adventure says, we wore skirts when I was in elementary school. Oh my goodness, I remember skirts where it was actually shorts, but it looked like a skirt. Oh, those are cool. I like those. Those are fun. Donna says, all this talk about California, Oregonian here, who's never seen California. Oh, yes, definitely the Redwoods. And, like, there are a lot of national forest in California. All of them are worth visiting. I think when people talk about California, they get too caught up in the big cities. And there is so much, like, just places in, like, the middle or even north of sort of the Bay Area and South, and also the vineyards in Napa. Oh my God, it's beautiful in Napa. Like, Napa is gorgeous, and you don't have to deal with all that big city crap. So yeah, if you're visiting California, like, look for the places outside of the big cities. You know. Penn in Kentucky says, how do you like your new generator? Cost per performance? I heard you say it wasn't as quiet as advertised. Performance, it's great. It's doing exactly what it was designed to do. Also, it actually fits in the box a little bit easier. So that's good for what I wanted to do, which is just backup charging my Jackery when I'm just not getting enough sun. Like, it's doing great for that. Like, I'm, not trying to run a lot of high-powered items anyway. And basically, I use it to charge the Jackery for a couple of hours every day just to give that extra boost to my charge and then use that power for the rest of the day. So, yeah, for that, it's really great. Like, if it's a really good, like, tailgating type generator. And that's pretty much all I needed for what I personally do at this point. And for the cost, honestly, it was great. Like, after I got the discounts, I think it was around $450, which is not cheap for me. But comparative to, like, some more expensive generators out there, if you are not really looking for, like, that Honda super quiet thing, like, it'll definitely get you by. Yeah. I'm seeing love for the Skorts. Donna Jean says, Napa, great idea, thanks. Napa's really pretty. And there's vineyards out there, so, yeah. Dawn, I missed a clip of you decorating your van with Christmas deco. What video will that be in? It is in the video that I just posted. The one about my trip back to California. The decorations in there. Sarah says, curious about your RTR plans. They announced the dates and it will be in Quartzsite. We'll be there. I will be at RTR. That is happening. So, like, hit me up. Any plans to go to BC? If I go to Canada, it'll be next year. Which I guess isn't that far away. Next year is in a few weeks, isn't it? My very next plan is to go to Arizona. So maybe, like, early in the summer. I really want to get to Canada. Like so bad. But it just hasn't worked out every time I've tried to get back there. Sarah says Tahoe National Forest. Yeah, national forests are great in California. So yeah, like, people like to hate on California, but it has some gorgeous national forests. Carolyn says Napa area very expensive. I mean, if you're going to go visit somewhere, though, you're not living there. So I think sometimes it's like, this area's pretty and I'm willing to, like, take on a little cost to visit it. It's not living there forever. It's not committing to the cost long term. But sometimes it's nice to notch out, a little bit of money for areas that are, like, pretty and worth seeing. You don't have to live there. You're just going to visit and leave. I'm seeing a lot of recommendations for pretty places. I haven't even visited some of these places in California, by the way. Doug Byrne, I don't know anything about Southern California. I visited there a couple of times, but I don't know a darn thing about Southern California. Nancy McIntyre says, I got 2 Jackeries in the 240 with one 100-watt solar panel when I got my van. Oh, by the way, Harbor Freight, at least the one I was in, sells Jackery, and they actually have sizes that I have not seen on the Jackery website. So now that Jackery is starting. Whoa, there we go. You guys can see me now. Hopefully I won't knock it down again. But now that Jackery's starting to move into retail stores, especially places like Harbor Freight, it might be easier for people to get their hands on like the smaller units without having to like go through Amazon or like online providers. I don't know if it's available in like Harbor Freight outside of California, but I was shocked when I saw like a whole Jackery display in the Harbor Freight, especially Harbor Freight, because Harbor Freight is like, not like, Lowe's, where it might cost you like $1,000. Like, they try to have good deals on products. Thank you for all the beautiful California recommendations of places that aren't the freaking big cities. Siecha says, after Desert Storm stationed in Germany, the commander made all the women wear skirts and 1-inch heels for a unit march over German cobblestone in formation. You can look like ladies for one day, angry face. Yeah, jerk! How about he marches in heels and a skirt? If you want to wear it, cool. But like to make me wear it to march in formation? Screw you, dude. I know you can't do that when you're in the military, but screw you, dude. You wear the freaking heels and do a march. Penn in Kentucky says, what are your plans for December for the holidays? Nothing. Like, literally nothing. Janice Williams says, the ones marketed to Lowe's and Home Depot are a little different. Yeah, the sizes are different, but I don't think there's anything especially different going on with the units. Julianne says, Harbor Freight sells the small Jackery. Cool. I need to get one for my husband for emergencies for his CPAP. Yeah, and I think they're going to be moving into a couple more hardware stores, so just keep your eyes out, and you might be able to get them over the shelf. Janet says, their Jackeries tend not to have as high a watt hour, so you really have to look at the description. I mean, like, the wattage is all over the place anyway, even when you buy them online. Like, you can get something as small as the 160, or I cannot be on camera again. There we go. Or you can get something as huge as the 2000. The biggest one I saw in the store was the 880, and I haven't seen that anywhere. That's an only in-store item, and it's still bigger than some of the other ones. Something Better says, what are you working on in terms of content for the new year? Besides finishing my build videos, which I still haven't finished, RTR is going to like serve up a lot of, that's going to be its own adventure for the beginning of the year. And I might be going to another event right after RTR. So that's pretty much the beginning of the year. So we'll see what happens when I'm there. It's sort of like Gutted. By the way, I have no idea when or if Gutted is going to release, their footage of the builds. Like, I have no idea what's going on there. People ask me all the time. I'm like, I don't know. Penn in Kentucky says, any upgrade plans for your home if I ever get the money for paint? hopefully painting it. like I'm not focused on anything but paint, and there's projects where I have the parts where I still haven't done it. Like I have a plumbing project I still haven't done. I need to change out that rear roof vent, which I have the roof vent, but I still haven't changed it out. So there's plenty of stuff to do that's not really an upgrade. Now there's stuff I want to change, but like I don't have the money for it. Like I want to build my own lithium battery pack. I want to so I want to redo that whole spot, and I want to redo my bathroom area. But those are long-term plans that I don't have money for right now. So that's like on hold until, you know, I'm in a good place for that. The most expensive thing I want to do right now is just buy my paint for the outside of the truck. And then there's the stuff where I have the parts, but I haven't had time to install it yet. So there's a lot, but it's nothing that like I can put on a list and be like, I'm gonna upgrade this. Probably the biggest thing after painting is actually figuring out how to start saving up for my lithium battery packs that I want to do. Carolyn Freeberg says, have you heard whether RTR is in person or virtual? I think right now the intent is to have an in-person RTR. So yeah, that's the plan right now. In-person RTR. But offer virtual, like a virtual portion of it, but actually go to our, you know, everybody being courtside. All right, I'm gonna wrap this up in the next couple minutes. What is the weather like? You're wearing short sleeves. It's 20. It's mild. Let's see. So I actually bought a thing. This is an indoor-outdoor temperature thing that I got from Walmart. I'll put it on camera. And the outdoor one is in the cab. I don't know. It's reversed, I guess. So it looks weird on your screen. But no, actually, you got it. It's 67 and 69. So it's 69 back here where I am and 67 in the cab right now. When I'm parked for a long time, I will actually put the outdoor temperature one outside. But since in here and the cab tend to be different temperatures, I just have the outdoor one in the cab unless I'm parked for a long time, which has rarely happened. It's really only for camping that I'll even change that. But yeah, so that's the temperature right now. Where am I? Shay a la mode says, what do you do for fun? LOL, hobbies or something. Well, editing takes up a lot of time. So when I'm really focused on doing YouTube, editing in and of itself, it absorbs a lot of time. Taking care of the cat takes some time. I exercise every day. I don't know if that's a hobby, but like I've been getting back on my exercise routine. I'm more worried about making that habit than like losing weight right now. I just want to be fit and get stronger and get like more in shape. So I do that a lot. And I am a nerd. So I you know, right now, honestly, my winter obsession has been getting into Star Trek. So yeah. And like right now I'm trying to learn how to build lithium batteries. So like all that stuff, you know, in between trying to find work right now takes up a lot of time. Oh, Julianne, thank you so much. She says, let's all send Dawn donations for her Cash App for her to paint her truck. Her Cash App is in the description of the videos. What is this fake Vanlife thing? I don't have context, so I'm like, rescue dog treats for anyone who's wondering about RTR. She says, dates were announced on Bob's channel for the RTR on Tuesday. I need to go watch that video myself. I'm like, I'm going, but I haven't watched the video. I did go to the Howa website, and I saw that they said they were going to have RTR this year. Or that was the plan. Nancy, yes, I can take a shower in the van. In fact, if you look at my last video, no, it was the comfort video. You actually see a clip of me using my ever shower. It's only up there for like 2 seconds. So yes, I can take a shower in the van. Sarah, thank you. She says, thanks, Dawn, for hosting an awesome live. FTS, RTR stands for Rubber Tramp Rendezvous. Rubber because tires are rubber. Tramp, take that how you will. And rendezvous because we're all gathering. Julie says, Dawn, check your Cash App later. Oh, thank you so much. I'm going to thank you ahead of time. Rich, thank you for the $20 super chat. And I love the little #1 flag. Earl Blackman says, when you get your charge controller for your battery, get the one you can hook to your alternator. I actually don't need to do that because I already have a DC to DC converter. I kind of bought it ahead of time for a different thing I was going to do. So I already bought a DC to DC charger so I could get a different charge controller and still hook it all up. So yeah. 4 Feline says, my cat is so adorable. Thank you. Thank you, Julie. Yes, it was in my comfort video. So if you ever wondered what I look like in the shower, I'm kidding. You can barely see anything, but it shows how it's set up in the truck. Doug says, have you ever been to Schoolie Palooza? No, but I want to go. So, like, I'm trying to go to the next Schoolie Palooza, so, like, cross your fingers, it'll actually work out. I should be able to go. But that's the plan. I see a lot of people answering the RTR question, so I'm just going to kind of back off of it. Penn in Kentucky, I've not seen Discovery yet, but I am excited for Strange New Worlds. I just got finished. All right, for anybody who doesn't like Star Trek, leave now. I started out watching Lower Decks. After Lower Decks, I decided to watch Enterprise. After Enterprise, I went straight into The Next Generation. And then after Next Generation, I went back and watched all of the original series. I watched some of the Star Trek animated series. And I have also started watching DS9, and this weekend I'm going to start watching the movies, but I'm going to watch the movies once a week because there's so many of them. I think, like, not including the new Kelvin timeline movies, there's, like, 8 movies or something like that, 4 from the original series and 4 from the Next Generation. I think it's something like that. So that's the order I've gone in. I'm not going to watch Discovery until I'm done with Voyager. Maybe. I haven't decided. And there's a new Star Trek cartoon called Star Trek Prodigy, which I also haven't watched, and it has Captain Janeway in it. And I might wait till the whole first season is done. And I honestly might wait till Discovery Season 4 is done, and then I'll just binge straight through them. Honestly, Discovery looks weird. Like, it doesn't look like Star Trek, and so, like, I'm very reluctant to watch it, but at the same time, I'm really excited about Strange New Worlds. So yeah. But I just might be having mixed feelings about Discovery, because I look at it and it's like, this looks so weird. Like, especially because I know it's a prequel, and yeah, my brain is just having a hard time with it. I loved DS9 as a kid. Like, the Deep Space Nine was the one Star Trek show I remember watching. Like, I actually remember the characters. And I didn't remember a lot of the characters from TNG at all. Except for the ones that ended up on Deep Space Nine. Alright, that is enough Star Trek. We're gonna move this Star Trek crap over to my other channel. Thank you, Carolyn Freebird. Back in the day, van lifers were referred to as rubber tramps. Leanna, thank you for the $19.99 well, I'm just gonna call it 20. Thank you for the $20 super chat, because I think that's some weird YouTube thing. Doug S. said, I'm old school Trek. I'm not a fan of the new films. It's just not Trek. You mean the Kelvin timeline films, the rebooted ones, the J.J. Abrams ones? I've only seen the first of the J.J. Abrams films. And I kind of remember it. I did like some of the cast in that. It's time for me to go to bed. Donna says, attended a sci-fi convention in Portland once years ago. I got to meet Spock's father, Sarek. He's a cool character. And he shook my hand. I was so proud. That's old school Trek. I know. You know what's crazy is the actor who played Spock's father, he played a Romulan first. And I'd seen TNG, so I knew he was Spock's dad. And before, the Romulans pretty much looked just like, in the old Star Trek, the Romulans looked just like the Vulcans. Like, they didn't add the extra stuff until the movies to distinguish them from the Vulcans. And so this Romulan pops up, and I'm like, Spock's dad! And then I realize it's not. It's the same actor playing a different character. And then I was like, oh, not Spock's dad. Princess Pamela says, give me Spock and James T. Kirk. You know what? I get kind of annoyed with Kirk watching the original series. Like, a lot of it did not age well, but I love Spock and McCoy. Like, Spock and McCoy had, like, the best dynamic. But, like, and also, like, William Shatner, and I know it's because he's an ex-Shakespeare actor, he is such an over-actor. It's like, I'm talking really dramatically, and I have this rhythm to my speech as I talk over dramatically about everything. And like, it was insane. Every time Kirk met a woman, even if they were married, they just like fell in love with him. And I'm like, why? Spock's cooler. So there was this one episode where Spock actually got the girl. It was like, he maybe had like 3 episodes where he actually got the girl. And I was like, I'm like, duh! Spock's the coolest. I could not help laughing at Kirk like the whole time I was watching the original series. It was like hilarious. Like, so we're here on this planet and things are going to happen, and you know, I don't know how we're going to get out of this one. Freaking love it. It was hilarious. Oh my goodness. But that one episode where like they went to a planet and like the culture, like, you sort of valued, they were kind of messed up, but they valued sort of intelligence. And I was glad in that situation, like the quote unquote attractive woman of the week actually was attracted to Spock, because it made so much more sense than somebody that also, it was nice to see a woman who was kind of an intellectual, because the original series could be bad at that. Like, as far as like having women who were actual intellectuals and sort of not disparaging them for it. And so it was nice to see an episode where that wasn't the case. But I had so much fun watching the original series, and they had some like really nice, like deep episodes that were really, really good. Even though some of the stuff was hilarious and didn't age well. Jen Famous says, Deep Space Nine is my favorite. Love Star Trek. I love that there's so many Trekkies. You know, like 2 weeks ago, I was really like arrogant about, well, maybe like 4 weeks ago, I was really arrogant about not being a Trekkie. I really need to get off of this. Sarah says, Chris Pine is cool, but I thought the movies were meh. Yeah, I think the actors in the J.J. Abrams Star Trek, that's what I'm going to call it, the Kelvin timeline stuff, were really good. Like, I really like the recasting of Kirk and Spock, actually. Except now, it seems like every time they do something with Spock now, they want to make make him too emotional. And I'm like, that wasn't his character. Like, stop trying to do that. But anyway, let me go away. Let me get off this. I'm getting praise for my Shatner impression. Miss VG said, yes, Kirk was not the best of the old series. It was definitely Spock and Bones. Yeah, Bones was the man. This has turned into the Star Trek chat again. Earl Blackman says the lonely ensign always got killed in Star Trek. Yeah, don't be the no-named character that you might make it back, but chances are you won't if you're the no-named character going down to the planet. Oh, crap. That's not what I wanted. Stop it! Freedom Dove, Shatner actually did go to space. It was one of the, because now they're trying to get up to space. So he actually was up there. I think he came back. Like, he wasn't there that long. But William Shatner has actually been in space. It happened not that long ago. It was kind of funny. All right. This has turned into just for anybody worried that we're all in Star Trek zone right now. I can see all the comments. Takai and Shatner have a long-standing feud. Hilarious because Takai still criticizes him. Howard Stern. There were a few people who had issues with William Shatner. From what I can tell, there was even a point where him and Leonard Nimoy did not get along because he got kind of jealous, honestly, of Leonard Nimoy having, as much attention as he got. William Shatner definitely went through a large period of having a huge head. From what I've discovered. It does seem like now he's willing to make fun of himself to a certain extent. But, alright. Yeah, Yolanda Jennings said it was a 10-minute ride into space. Yeah, they took William Shatner into space for like 10 minutes. They're doing these test flights now where basically you go up and you come back. Like, it's not like you stay out there. But William Shatner has now officially actually been to space. So I'm gonna wrap this up because I can see people leaving now. They're like, there's certain people who are like, oh, now we're talking about Star Trek. I'm out of here. But everybody who's a Trekkie, a fellow Trekkie, let's see if I can do this. Look at this. Let's see. All right, everybody. This is the right way, right? I'm a new Trekkie, so if I mess it up, live long and prosper. I'll see you guys live next Wednesday, and I'm probably going to try to publish another video before the end of the week. So, yeah. Oh my gosh, Miss VG said Uhura invented the AirPods. All right. I love you guys. See you next week.